right, with it being after 7 o'clock, we will call the June 28th meeting to order, and we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's part of the meeting.
What happened?
Thank you all for your
Best part of the
participation.
meeting. Yeah. Motion to adjourn? That's the favorite part of me.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I want to move the minutes of the May 10, 2023 meeting. I've read the minutes, and they accurately reflect the meeting.
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. First one is 242-1745, 350 Winthrop Ave.
The order issued in August of 2019 governed the replacement of a failing 364-long, 48-inch corrugated metal culvert with a 84-foot-long 4x3.5 box culvert daylighting a stretch of stream that discharges to the Shawshene River. The order was modified a couple of times for culvert replacement time of year, and then there was some snow stockpiling violations that we had to revise the plan to formalize those approved stockpile areas. The work was closely monitored by the erosion control monitor and design engineer, and maintained excellent communication with my office. During the work, metal sheeting was used at the terminal end of the new channel to maintain dry working conditions, and once the channel was ready to put online, it was decided to just saw off that metal sheeting at grade instead of trying to rip it out, because it would probably destabilize. So it's in there and doing well. Chain link fencing and the boulders per the snow management requirement are in, and snow signage are installed where they're supposed to be. Wetland markers are installed. That got done yesterday. And then there was a couple minor deviations that the engineer pointed out. He noted that a riprap was installed at the end of the old 48 CMP, but that was administratively approved by the chairman to ensure stabilization of that slope. And then the bottom of the bioretention area and grass channels differed from the approved plans, but still appeared to be functioning properly. They took a lot of shots for the final as-built elevations, but Peter Ellison from TEC is with us this evening if you have any other questions. But otherwise, I don't see a reason not to issue a certificate of compliance.
Thank you. Ryan? Al?
I have no questions.
I'd just like to say nice job.
Yeah, it came out nice.
John?
Nothing else other than what Lou just said.
Motion?
I move that we issue a complete certificate of compliance with ongoing conditions as prescribed in the order of conditions.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Next one is 242-1174. Are these the same? Can we hear them both at the same time, or do they have to be
Yeah,
separate?
we can, because, I mean, they're basically this, yeah, I mean,
All right.
they're both expired orders and work never started under them, so. But the 242-1174 and 242-1175 both governed two single-family housing units on either side of the cul-de-sac roadway. That was never done, and it was replaced by the order under 242-1313, which had more units in that development. So they want to clean up those old outstanding orders that are expired and invalid and never enacted.
Okay. Brian, any questions? Al?
No questions.
Sean?
No, sir.
Motion?
I'm going to move both lots at the same time, 1174 and 1175, if that's okay with you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, it is.
And I'll move that we issue certificates of compliance for both and indicate they're expired, no longer valid, that the work was never undertaken and is later governed and completed under 242-1313.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. The next one is 242-1313, request to continue until July 26th.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Modification, 242-634, 85 Colonial Ave, request to withdraw.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Next one is 242-1839, Brook School.
Alrighty. All right, so Brook School is requesting a modification to the order that was issued in June of 2022, and it governs demolition of the existing boathouse buildings and reconstruction of a brand-new building outside the 50, site work, access ways, and gravel areas close to the shore for boat launch and reinforced lawn for trailers to meet that proposed gravel area. So, Commission will remember that the town bought 400 Great Pond Road, and that was one house on the lake that prohibited the town from raising the lake level to avoid flooding that basement. They have long since removed all of the utilities and oil tanks in the basement, and now they're keeping the lake at a higher level than usual. So we have an inundated situation at the boat launch at Brook School now, where there was grass, it's inundated to the point where it's not growing anymore, and it's going to quickly turn into a muddy situation. So the school just didn't want to have that condition persist, and is proposing to extend the crushed stone surface inside to the footprint of the boat maneuvering and foot traffic in and out of the shore, in and out of the lake. This is temporary, just to abate an erosion problem that will develop. And I understand that the town manager and DPW director is looking to have, probably a consultant look at long-term scenarios for lake management and, at this level, what does it look like? At whatever level, what does it look like? And how is it impacting properties along the shoreline? So Anthony Cleaves is here this evening representing Brooks. If you have any questions for him.
Thank you.
I guess the only question I have is if this is a short-term solution, have you thought about long-term solutions, or is it still sort of up in the air at this point?
Short-term in the sense of until it's better known what the lake level will be.
I see.
Seemed like there's still some uncertainty in that. So I think this is a temporary way to stabilize the sod that was put down. That's just not going to survive.
Yeah, you can see it in the photos. It's
Yeah.
going to turn into a mud pit real quick.
So until we know what the lake levels will be at, maybe it's a long-term, if the lake levels stay at the height that they were in the spring, or somewhere in between, if the lake levels, vary from what it was before to what it was in the spring. So I think the intent now is to stabilize that area now, as we're continuing to further along in the progress of our site work, so that then we can revisit this once it's better known what the lake levels will be long-term.
I'm all set.
So that was actually the question that I was writing a note to myself to ask, but nobody, both you and Amy have said the town doesn't know what they're looking for a level. We know what the level is based upon the previous ownership of 400 Great Pond Road. When people lived there, we know that the lake could only go to a certain amount, so they wouldn't be flooded out. So the town now wants to raise the level, but we don't know what the limit is. Your temporary solution is crushed stone?
Yeah, basically expanding the crushed stone area that was there, so something porous. We wouldn't want to put back, dense graded base, which we're trying to get away from that, as you may recall from the original permit. So we figured we're looking to expand that crushed stone area, something stable, won't erode, but also is porous, so any rainwater will get back into the ground.
Okay, thank you. I have no other questions.
I just have a question. You work for Brooks, or you work on
I work
site?
for Haley Ward,
Okay.
we're a consultant to Brooks School.
Because I have a question about boats, but you're not part of that. So
No.
I'll have to wait for a later date. No questions, Sean? Nothing? Motion?
So recommend that you approve the modification as presented, perhaps with a report on how the area is holding up with seasonal use. And then I'll just do my best to monitor the town's future plans.
I'd like the school to provide a monitor. I don't think that should be your job.
Okay,
I think that the school, as the applicant, through no fault of their own, should have to provide a monitor to, I don't know, maybe once a week, once a month, whatever you think would be reasonable and would ensure that nothing gets ahead of us there, but we definitely want a monitor.
okay.
I guess my question on that is, so you're looking for Brooks School to monitor what the town is elevating the lake to?
No, I'm looking for Brooks School, I'm looking for Brooks School, not actually Brooks School, I'm looking for a third-party independent person hired by the school pursuant to the bylaw to monitor the work area, to be sure that there's no erosion,
Oh, okay.
to make sure that there's no disruption taking place, to protect the water quality. I want a water quality monitor, a human.
Okay, I thought you were referring
yeah,
to
not the town.
the
Yeah, I
elevation
mean-
of the lake. Okay,
No,
so
no, no,
just
No,
strictly,
it's clear to me, it's clear to me that it may be a while before they know what they want for a level. That's gonna take some studying, I'm sure. And this rain could stop tomorrow, we could have a nice drought, and then it's not gonna matter. So,
Yeah.
okay, thank you for the clarification,
Yeah.
appreciate that. I understand.
now, typically, when we ask for monitors on projects, Amy can provide a list of qualified people, and the school can choose, or you can offer your own.
Well,
So-
Anthony actually
I
do the
actually am the
monitoring
monitor.
Do you
on
wanna-
behalf
do you
of
wanna
the
monitor?
school.
We've been doing it, I go out there once a week at a minimum.
Okay, so
Throughout
Amy,
the life of the project.
perfect, you're making it easy. Amy will tell you what she wants.
Yeah.
Sounds
All
great.
right,
Yeah.
thank
Thank
you.
you very much, I appreciate the clarification.
Thank you.
So I think even if we are at the point where the site is stabilized, we might want maybe a monthly look at this particular area.
Well, we want a wear and tear look, too.
Yeah,
because,
wear-
you know,
that's what I mean.
They're
That's-
putting crushed
that's what
stone
I'm-
down to prevent everything from silt and all kinds of,
Yeah.
everything going into the lake. So if there's high activity, high traffic going on, maybe it's prudent to monitor it every day during the higher traffic period. And then if there's gonna be no traffic, you could modify your schedule.
Yep, sounds good. The high traffic area just subsided with the end of school. Now they're in a summer camp season,
There you go.
maybe a little more traffic, and then it's gonna die up. We can work with Amy in our office. to-
That's all I'm looking for. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so that'll be part of the motion?
That should, you want me to, your motion or my motion?
It was that, well, Amy was stating it, and then you threw that in.
So
You take it.
I respectfully request that be included in the motion.
Sure.
As
Okay.
agreed.
Yep.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. So thank you.
Great, thank you very much for your
Thanks,
time,
Anthony.
appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Next one, notice of intent, 242-1858.
That's Willow, right? Is that 189 Willow?
189 Willow is the address on the,
Yeah.
Okay. That's okay. Well, let's see. Guess we can do that, I guess. Alrighty. Want me to
Fire away.
give a rundown?
briefly, just,
Yeah,
yeah,
all right.
give us a thumbnail.
Okay, so I gave you guys the permit history of this site, and it's
Sure.
gone through some alterations through the years, and now we're at a point where we have, well, we've had BVW all along that pretty much surrounded the upland, and now we have an interior isolated vegetated wetland that is over 5,000 square feet. Past permits allowed for culvert installation, which is there, and utility stubbing, but no actual construction of any of the proposed buildings ever happened. So this current notice of intent
Does that work?
proposes the construction of a 7,700 square foot business office building, associated parking, utilities, and stormwater appurtenances. The work is completely within the buffer zone to the BBW and is proposing to fill some bordering land subject to flooding. The site does have a 100-year floodplain. And also proposes to fill 4,700 square feet plus or minus of the interior isolated wetland, resulting in 1,197 square feet of replicated isolated wetland, for a total of 1,623 square feet of IVW to remain on the site. Justine and I walked the delineation with Sergio, the wetland consultant, and found the delineation to be accurate. The site does have really high groundwater out there. There is invasives prevalent in the isolated wetland, but the BVW is relatively uninvaded, so it's in pretty good shape. So they have submitted with the planning board. That review is on hold. Money is in escrow for a third-party stormwater review, but the applicant has asked for just to put a pause on that, not start that until they were able to get before the commission, knowing that there's some obstacles here with this application.
Thanks.
So
All right.
that's it, in a nutshell.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, do we want to have them, I don't know, is there a
I don't
presentation?
think a presentation is
I
necessary.
agree. I gotta admit, I laughed when I saw this proposal, to be honest with you. I just, it's not approvable for so many reasons, right off the bat. Even setting aside the fact that the IVW is now there, you got a building just all over within the 50-foot and the 25-foot zones with seemingly no regard for it at all. It's not like you designed around it in any way. You just plopped it there. It's laughable. The alternatives analysis is basically non-existent, slightly insulting, given commensurate to the size of the project, to be honest with you, on a professional level. IVW replication is extremely lacking. I mean, there's areas where you could even provide more mitigation, and you're not even proposing it. Stormwater, you're not providing any groundwater recharge. This is new development, have to meet the standards. And you're just proposing no, I understand the groundwater's high out there, so what? I mean, those are the high-level points. I'm not even gonna waste time getting into the details. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Al?
Good evening. I've read the application as well, and I've read the alternatives analysis. As proposed, the site is wholly located within the no disturb and no build zones. How long have you had this particular piece of property, the subject property?
I don't know how long they've owned the property.
Do you know, I mean, have they owned it for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 1 month?
6 months.
Pardon me?
6 months.
6 months, okay. Thank you. So, that, if it was purchased or acquired or however, only within the past 6 months, I would say the conditions that you see now were prevalent 6 months ago, which would lead me to believe, why would anybody not do their diligence on it and not buy it? Typically, when a person is buying a piece of property, they have an expert look at it, they do their due diligence, and then they decide if they're gonna purchase it or not. If anybody had done due diligence on this, they would have recommended to walk away from it. My opinion, my humble opinion, is it's not buildable as proposed.
Okay. I reinforce the statements from the other two commissioners. I'm looking at the plan, and I looked at the wetlands plan first, and I turned over and saw the building in the parking. I'm like, whatever happened to the wetlands? I mean, like you said, there's no regard for any wetlands replication. We're looking for, you're gonna take away 5,000 square feet and give us 1,100 square feet. I mean, we require at least 2 to 1. The water table, did anybody even bother with a test pit here? It's probably got 6 inches, the water table's probably 6 inches down.
No, there's been no soil testing at this time.
You haven't done it. So you got, there's so many things, I don't even know where to begin. But I would say, right now, my feeling is, this lot is unbuildable, period. Sean?
For all the reasons everybody else already said, this is not approvable. I don't know what could be, a structure that size, I don't think would ever be approvable on that property, no matter where you put it or how you tried to shoehorn it in there. And I don't think there's really anything else to say.
I don't know what direction to give you, except if we vote on it, as it's presented now, it's a denial.
Well, that's what we're looking for feedback.
Yes.
So essentially, this is for feedback.
I think you got plenty.
Yes,
Yeah.
we did.
Well, the applicants expressed some.
So not voting on it and continuing it,
We're going to have to continue it, just because we have an extra week between the next meeting, and I don't have a decision ready.
I have no problem continuing this.
Right.
I just don't want to give false information to the applicant
Yep.
to make them feel that there's some way, if you went back to the drawing board, you might get an approvable. I'm not sure.
that was what I was gonna say.
I'm just not sure if you could get anything out of this. I think you got a pig in a poke here.
Understood.
Yep, we appreciate the feedback, that's why we're here.
We wanted to.
So just for the record, we'll let these guys introduce themselves.
Yeah.
Eric Lane from Hayes Engineering.
It's Sergio Bonilla from Mission Wetland and Ecological Services.
Like I said, like Mr. Mancy says, I don't wanna give any false hopes that if you continue and present a new plan, it might work, but I'm looking at that lot, and I don't see any way you can put anything in there. We had issues with this lot years ago, and we just kind of meandered around, like, and, but I'll be truthful, I don't think the lot's buildable. I mean, you can, if you want to come back and hash it out and try another alternatives, can have at it, but I really think you're throwing good money into bad.
Well, part of the goal was to try to get some, to try to convey to you, because Amy has seen the site, and so has Justine, to try to overcome the significance of that IVW under the bylaw. I mean, you could not even see the interior of the isolated wetland, because it's just strangled with, I understand your points and stuff, but just to let you know, to get onto the site, the IVW is extremely strangled by greenbrier and laden with pucker brush, invasives like multiflora rose, and bittersweet. So part of the goal was to discuss that and to get over the presumption of significance and drive home the fact that we're open. Obviously, we're taking the feedback. The applicant's expressed he's open to adjusting the mitigation portion of the project, maybe even incorporating some BVW mitigation. We don't think there's any, I know there's no wildlife habitat provision of that IVW because the water doesn't stay in there long enough. It doesn't meet ILSF criterion. The fact of the matter when I get involved is I try to come forward with mitigation to try to offset some of these. And like you said, we've got a building in the middle of a surrounded BVW, which is intact and in good shape. So we could add on to that habitat, wildlife habitat structure value to that upland edge of at the BVW boundary, but try to incorporate measures to try to make some more significant habitat out of the remaining ILS or IVW. So we're open to the feedback. Thank you for it, and just know that we want to discuss it and come forward with more mitigative options to offset some of those encroachments.
And you said this was going to be a two-story structure, is that correct? Is it two-story? Did I see here two-story, I thought, or was that the old building?
Yeah, I believe it was a single story.
Yeah.
The old building? You know, structurally, I mean, it has nothing to do with us. I'd be concerned structurally based on the water table. So, I mean, I think that's something you should look into. And, you know, and stormwater, we haven't discussed stormwater.
Can I just answer the question that Sergio, you wanted to talk about the presumptions of significance of the IVW. This commission is not going to devalue the significance of the IVW. We're not going to waive that significance. If you had some type of a scientific project you presented, you're free to present it, but it is very unlikely that we're going to waive any significance of the IVW. And I don't know what that does for you. I don't think it helps you.
Thank you for the
again,
feedback.
I apologize, but that's,
Don't apologize. Feedback, that's what we wanted.
yeah.
Right. So what's the next meeting?
July 26th.
Like,
So just for the record, I just want to just recognize that the applicant is in the audience, and he answered Mr. Manzi about his ownership time.
Think it over and come back and give it your best, sharpen your pencil. I mean,
are there any abutters here on this project?
so,
No, you can be a member of the public that has questions. Yeah,
No,
you can.
go up to
Are you in
go up to
abutter,
the
though?
podium.
You gotta be
Not
there.
a butter, but
not in a
it's a
butter?
public hearing, so.
Well,
You have to be a butter.
there's standing, but if you go up to the podium and give your name and address, we'll.
So, my name is Melinda Perone, and I live on 65 Meadowwood Road. And we walk that area quite frequently. And not only do I see that there's quite a bit of water in that whole area, but that the water drains down into the Mosquito Brook. And that's something I've had a big concern about recently, is because the Mosquito Brook, as Amy can tell you, is being dumped into. So we're having a lot of problems with that in our area. And again, I live on Meadowwood Road, so we're in a butter of the industrial park.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Being dumped into by,
Do you mean like trash?
yeah,
Trash,
Do you mean the trash?
Yep.
from that property, the
All.
subject property?
all the properties in that area.
There's like out of control trash dumping, just
Well, can
probably
we-
people drive, open up their pickup trucks and driving away, so,
Well, that's probably something we should be trying to identify, right?
yeah, we're working on it.
Maybe a nice camera mounted on a pole nearby.
I'm hoping
Amazing
to-
the things you can see.
I'm hoping to present at some point. I'm trying to collect some
Yep.
information
That would be good.
about the area. And we've been picking up the trash since 2014. Last year, we picked up 50 contractor-sized garbage bags, furniture, human waste, all kinds of needles, everything. So,
Well, we appreciate you helping out.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for helping out.
Okay, so we're gonna
Oh, they had a
Let's
question?
see if they have any other questions.
Yes, one question the property owner has is the mailing address of the ownership is at the property. And currently, all the mail gets returned to them, not that they get a lot of mail, but what they do get. They were requesting to put a mailbox out on the front of the property and perhaps clear the concrete culvert, which is existing now, where that's just been left for 15 years, I would guess. Just to clean that off, so they have a place to pull a car off, park, access the mailbox. Is that something the commission would accept?
So you're talking about putting a crushed stone area?
I don't even think a crushed stone, I think it's just clearing off the area where the existing concrete culvert is right next to the roadway.
Where
Just
where does,
clear-
where does the mail go now?
Gets returned. He doesn't get
Why
it.
isn't it going?
There's no
where he
forwarding?
lives?
You don't have a forwarding?
We don't get 3/4 of it, even though.
You don't get your mail? How about a nice post office box downtown?
I don't think our request is unreasonable.
Is there anything in our bylaw that allows for a temporary mail collection? It would be, you're talking about putting in a buffer zone, right?
Yes,
Because that's all you have there is buffer zone.
correct.
Strange.
I don't know,
I never heard this.
Within the,
No, it's probably,
no disturb.
probably the no disturb.
So you're gonna wanna get a waiver to get a mailbox?
No, we're not.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
we're just trying to figure out how to help you out. That's not a question we've ever been asked.
I know, I have this in the
One thing, people always find a way to get their mail, even when we want to send them
Yeah,
something
sometimes
special.
it's 3 months late.
I got you.
I would say there really isn't.
I don't understand that at all.
I think, I'm gonna give you my opinion, it's free, so here's what it's worth. I would go to the post office, and I would file a complaint with the Postmaster General first, because you're asking us to give you a waiver, which we just basically told you we can't do, so,
Right.
you know.
People forward their mail all the time. I don't understand why that can't be
Well, either way,
done.
if
Whatever.
we can't do it, we can't do it.
I don't,
Yeah.
So I think, I hope it probably sounds unreasonable, but anybody that's been in front of this commission before knows we don't give waivers unless it is incredibly justified in very unusual circumstances. And I don't think we're gonna do it
Has
here
an
for a
alternative.
mailbox under this kind of situation, at least
Right.
I'm not.
Yeah, no, that's what I was trying to say.
Okay.
The postal service has
It's a slippery slope.
a provision set up for this kind of stuff. You gotta deal with that, I'm sorry.
Thank you for hearing us.
Again, I apologize, but,
So I move to continue to the next meeting.
July 26th.
second,
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, and that's unanimous.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Next one is 242, 1869, 674 Turnpike Street. Request to continue till July 26th.
So moved.
second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. 242, no DP number yet, 175 Olympic Lane.
Alrighty. Okay, project entails demolition of an existing rear deck and stairs, construction of a new 12 by 28 deck with stairs, and an addition measuring 14 by 22 that has a side paved apron. The addition will house a garage below and living space above. work to take place within the 100-foot buffer zone to BBW and 200-foot riverfront area to Boston Brook. Staff inspected delineation, found it to be accurate. The addition will be 50.4 feet from the BBW, and the deck will be 50.8 feet from the BBW at their closest points. So no waivers are requested, but they're pretty close. Portions of the new deck and the addition are just inside the first 100 foot of the riverfront area. The addition is coming about 2 feet closer to the riverfront. It's about 32 square feet altogether of structure that is beyond existing structures that's coming close to the river. The consultant's narrative notes that the proposed new deck is exempt from the riverfront regs as it is greater than 50 feet from the closest resource area, and it is solely within existing lawn. He provided riverfront area calculations. It seems that the project would still comply with the 10% disturbance threshold in riverfront. So they're also offering some planting mitigation along the edge of lawn where there's undisturbed vegetation that meets the lawn, and that's going to be in the form of 12 high bush blueberries. There's been some interpretation that's going on at the DEP level about the riverfront regs, and I think I'm going to let Thor with Williams and Sparagis expound upon that. But if you guys want to ask questions or whatever, take it from there.
Ryan?
I don't have any issues with it as proposed. I think the high bush blueberry is appropriate
Is
mitigation.
mitigation?
Yeah, I think so. It was a 10.585 G and H, A G and H.
Okay.
Right, the different mitigation you can propose. I do think that, markers, posts with markers in front of the high bush blueberry is warranted here, right along the 25.
Yeah, definitely.
That area, so
Yeah.
that's all I have.
I guess I'm interested in hearing from you regarding your alternatives analysis.
Yeah, absolutely. Thor Akerley, wetland scientist and registered sanitarian with Williams and Sparagis. Yeah, so what the family wants to do is create an additional garage space on the first level next to the existing garage there, which is a garage under. So there's that small apron that's being added. The pavement does kind of come over in that direction already. Right there you can see. I don't know if you can.
Probably have a better picture at some point.
And then above that, they'd like to have a family room, which connects to their living room, and that family room would have a door out to the deck. I think the alternative to this would be shifting the driveway or the garage, on the end of the driveway there, which we touched on in the narrative, and realistically that ends up closer to the river, closer to the resource areas, and I believe within the 50, but I'd have to double check that, because currently, so we looked at that, and then really as it's proposed, we believe, directly next to the house where you have a fence, the deck's right there, really makes the most logical sense from a resource perspective and resource area perspective and what currently exists on the property.
Okay. All set. Thank you.
I'm just looking at the stockpile in it. But I guess it doesn't look like there's many places to put it.
So we did, when we did the site visit, the contractor was there, and he said, honestly, he'll probably be able to put it just to the right of the addition, when they're pulling up soil, but within the fenced area. The fence is being removed, actually, but He says he doesn't even need as much of an area as we specified. You know, we like to be safe just in case, but, you know, we can revise that on the plan if you'd like to kind of show it there. Kind of right between the stairs of the deck and the fence there is all the space he said he'd need. And then that would be exported.
Yeah, the reason why I say that because it's really close to the 25, and it's downgrade toward the wetlands, so if there's another spot for it, I would like to see that. That's it for me.
So you're getting really close to the 50-foot. So please make sure you mark them and mark them well so that they don't get any closer than what you have them designated at on your drawings.
Yeah, we'll definitely recommend staking it out because we know what the implications are of
Okay.
building in the 50.
Yep, thanks. And Jen, I'm not all that familiar with the.
That's Amy, by the way.
That's okay.
Jen, sorry.
It's all right.
It's only been like 4 years.
That's all right. I know who you meant.
Yeah. It's good to be here at the Department of Public Works again, isn't it, Al?
Never better.
At least you didn't call her Allison.
Never better.
Back to
than-
business. The way it reads is they really can't get 2 feet closer to the riverfront without a waiver and an alternatives analysis. And is it the same type of an alternatives analysis we would do for
Yeah,
wetlands?
Basically, I mean, there's, you know, practicable alternatives. But like,
So are we talking
Ryan's-
about bylaw or?
no, we're
wetlands
talking wetlands protection,
Right,
because
so
that's really what, this is really controlled by the Wetlands Protection Act,
And were we talking about the deck?
riverfront regs.
We're talking
The
comment she
addition.
makes about getting 2 feet closer and the
Yeah,
fact that,
so the redevelopment regulations allow you to provide mitigation in all different forms of mitigation in the riverfront area, as long as it's an improvement over existing conditions and things like that, to compensate for, for things like this. So something, I think it would be up to our discretion, basically, if the mitigation that's proposed adequately compensate for the 2 feet.
It all depends upon what they propose, you're absolutely right.
Yep.
100%. I agree 100%.
do you look at it differently than when we're looking at, under the bylaw at our wetlands? Do you think
Well,
it's the same analysis?
Well, that's actually what I was asking is, does our bylaw actually completely mimic the riverfront area regulations?
It defers to.
It defers to, okay, yeah, so we'd just be
Yes.
dealing with Wetlands Protection Act
Yep.
regulations, basically.
So,
But if you have some more to tell me about this,
Well,
I'm happy to listen.
well, so if I did my calculations correctly, so we've got the total, 10% riverfront area is 3,322.23. That's how much, that's the 10% of what exists on the,
Degraded, yep.
right. So, no, that's 10% of the riverfront area.
Correct, sorry.
Okay. And so the resulting proposed degraded is 3159.44. So that leaves a potential 162.79 square feet of possible future additional degrading of the riverfront area.
Not a lot.
Okay. And the other thing is that the DEP always recommends that the commission place a ongoing condition in the order that the mitigation area can never be removed or disturbed or taken out and protected in perpetuity, so, but we'll probably do the markers to, to go in front of it, but.
Those numbers, those are his same numbers you have on page 3, so you guys agree on the numbers.
Yeah, I mean,
There's no disagreement there that I
Right.
see.
right.
Okay.
All right, well, we need to continue.
Yeah, 'cause we don't have a DEP sign on. But I don't know if there's anyone in the audience that
Oh,
has.
excuse me, any butters here for this project?
Nobody. There are no abutters.
So I move to continue to the next meeting, Jim?
Second.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Motion is second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll probably have a decision ready at the next meeting, so we'll be able to close at that point.
Okay, I'll stay for.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
All righty.
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, enforcement orders. 47 Bonnie Lane.
Do we get,
We did Olympic, right?
I'm looking.
Yeah,
We just did Olympic.
yeah.
I think you're right.
Say 11:40.
Yeah, because they didn't have a DP number.
Right.
You're right, Lou. You're 100%.
Oh, okay. Really have nothing to
Gotta
present.
get lucky sometimes.
I had a error marking on mine.
Alrighty, so,
Are we doing these together?
yeah,
Okay,
I mean,
Talk about them both.
yeah.
okay.
I mean, Thor's here, he's the wetland consultant for both properties at 47 and 59 Bonnie Lane. He can give us an update where he's at, or where they're at with the tree appraisal, existing conditions plan, and restoration plan.
So, we're familiar with the site. We've prepared an existing conditions plan for both properties. At this time, there's been some issues resolving a section of the property line at 47 and the neighbors. So we're still trying to finalize that. It may have implications for restoration work on both properties potentially, and which becomes a legal matter. And at this time, it's too early to say definitively.
Is it this neighbor you're representing or the other side?
Sorry, this is Lean.
This is 47, that's 59.
Yep.
Is it, where's the property issue on the
40,
other side?
between 47 and the other side.
Okay, the
Yep.
other side.
So we're still working on resolving that at this time. We did just receive the appraisal from the arborist, Howard Gaffin, for 47 Bonnie Lane, just yesterday. I haven't had a chance to really digest it. It's a little complex and something I haven't really seen before. So we're still trying to wrap our heads around that a little. And he's still working on the 59 Bonnie Lane appraisal. But he has told us that will be ready likely this week. And we fully expect to have a restoration plan in front of you at your next meeting. I don't see why that wouldn't be feasible at this point.
Okay. Ryan?
I'm all set.
Al?
I want to acknowledge the email received from Ms. Kong. I appreciate the email you sent to the town. Thank you very much. I'm good right now.
Right now. Yeah, I did read that letter, and I think that you're sincere, and I appreciate that. But I'm going back to the same thing, the dock. The dock, we asked you to remove the dock, you have not removed the dock. So we have an issue.
Did you just switch over to 59?
Well, he said he's representing both of them.
Okay, you have both. Okay, I'm sorry.
So so we asked the dock removed, and we had Mr. Sparagus here the last time, I believe. And he stated that the dock is in the water, but it's also in the wetlands, because there's wetlands before you get to the water. So it's an open violation. We asked him, we didn't want to have to issue an enforcement order, which is going to happen, because we asked, all we were asking is just take it out temporarily until we get everything straightened out. And his reluctance seems to be going, and there's a lot going to be happening around the lake shortly that we're working on. But, you're looking for forgiveness for clear cutting the trees around the lake, and then you give us resistance about taking the dock out, so.
Could I interject that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Matt, if you want to talk, just go to the,
Sure.
and just identify yourself so that they have you on camera and everything.
Sure. Matt Marzak, 59 Bonnie Lane. I think it was, and maybe Amy, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think it was the next day I wrote Amy a lengthy email just describing, measures why I, was open to. Sorry?
We have it.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I was curious to hear feedback on that and hopefully start a dialogue and think about this, if it's really in terms of protecting the water quality and character, which I agree it 100% should be. I'm hoping to prove that having a dock in place helps that for a number of reasons that I've outlined in the emails. And I'm not trying to be confrontational by any means. I just wanted to kind of thoroughly express all avenues with you folks and others if it need be before taking that measure. But I'm happy to accept whatever measure you deem acceptable. But I just wanted to point out a number of areas that could be open for consideration.
Well, that's why I'm trying to explain to you. I understand your email and the use and all that stuff. I don't have a problem with that. The problem is as of right now, it's a violation. So if it's a violation, anything moving forward on this part can't even be heard. So, because you have a violation that we can't act on, that if you want to apply, what do they have to apply for? Is there
Notice of intent.
a notice of intent?
And then a Chapter 91 license,
And
if he gets
so-
an order of
And they-
conditions.
My understanding is, and this is new area for us, but they have to be filed simultaneously, the notice of intent, or does the Chapter 91 come in, is incorporated into the NOI?
Chapter 91 waits for an order of conditions approval to be issued,
Get the NOI first.
and then they move forward with their review.
Okay, so you understand that, I know you're a bright kid, you understand that. The thing you're asking for, we talked about it last time, you're asking for a stay of execution. I don't think, my humble opinion is, I don't think we are able to grant a stay, because then we can't accept your application for your NOI, because the NOI application has to be free and clear of violations and fines. Everything has to be cleared up before that comes in front of us and is opened publicly and read. So that's why I was asking you, just take the thing out, get into compliance. We'll move your notice as quickly as we can. That's I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
And like I said,
Thank-
you're not alone. This is just the beginning.
No, but
Oh, I know, and if it's just the beginning, I would implore, and like I think I said in the emails, that the boat landing should be stricken as well.
yeah, no,
And I'm sure you've received a letter from the town.
I did, yes.
I know, everybody that's on Bonnie Lane has received that letter. And so the planning board is behind, is us, and the harbor master is behind
But it's
us,
new.
the town manager is behind us.
But I think what I was stating in my emails, though, is that the docks, and I don't have to get into too much detail because you've read the emails, but provides better protection to maintain the water quality and integrity than does the boat landing. And to me, I haven't heard any contentions whatsoever about the boat landing as it stands now. So for me, I think that would be the top concern from the town.
Understood, but you're in a unique position of having waterfront property, and that precludes the rest of North Andover's residents that can't trample onto your private property and launch their canoe or their kayak. So
But if this is
it's
really
sort of
about
a- it's-
protecting the water quality and
Yeah,
integrity,
yeah.
in the reasons I stated,
but it's a controlled point. It's not every single person
Well, you-
on the entire, perimeter of the lake, making their own spot to get into the lake.
And the
And
buffer.
it's just, yeah, I mean,
But I'm
that's
just
all I'm
saying,
gonna say.
if that's
all
stricken
I'll
from
say.
my course, the town of North Andover only has to worry about myself at 59 Bonnie Lane. At the boat landing, you have to worry about thousands and thousands and thousands of people hoping to be.
So we're talking about separate issues
Yeah.
here, right?
But it affects me.
But see,
It 100% and I'm trying to be as polite and respectful, and I'm opening and willing to do to do it as you recommended.
Thank you, I just think, just to make it expedite, to make it go as fast as it can and have your day in court, that's what you gotta do.
Will do. Okay.
Thank you, man.
So, just so you understand, you will need Williams and Spratches to help you with the notice of intent. It's not something that, is, you need a plan, and so it's not like I'll submit the paperwork tomorrow. It's not that easy. So, just so you know. I just
Okay.
want you to be aware. because once you see the checklist, you're going to say, oh, I need help with this, so, because it's just not something that the average homeowner can tackle.
Okay. Yeah, sure, I'll be willing to explore any avenue that
Okay,
I can.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have no questions that I'm prepared to articulate right now, or comments for that matter, other than we should just deal with what's in front of us now, and if people have issues that they want to discuss on something else, they should really use good judgment on when to articulate those issues.
Thank you. Thank you. There weren't last time. Are there any abutters for this project? So no abutters answer.
Yeah. I have just one, I just want to make sure I'm on sound footing with the commission. 47 Bonnie Lane has submitted a building permit for interior renovations of the house. It includes some work on the exterior rear deck, which is just decking replacement and railings, installation of AC chillers underneath that deck. I was able to confirm with Thor that the deck is 150 feet plus from any wetland resource area, so I'm signing off but I just wanted to let you know.
That's going to be a regular building permit. That's not part of the...
Yeah, that's
okay.
nothing that, right, so nothing triggers our review for that work,
Yeah.
but I just
That's
wanted you
good.
to know.
I'm happy to hear that it doesn't, I'm very happy that it doesn't trigger anything here.
Yes, yeah.
And I just wanted to add that they're planning to move here permanently at the moment. They live in Connecticut, Lehman and her family, and they'd like to, be permanent North Andover residents and oversee the restoration work and
We'll
be
try
part
to
of it.
we'll try to make this as painless as possible for all parties concerned.
Okay,
When do you
that's all
get-
I have.
When do you get the information of the average, the value of the trees that were cut?
We should be getting it by the end of the week.
Okay.
Nothing to ratify, nothing to?
No,
Okay.
just continue to the July
So
26th meeting.
continue it as written.
Yep,
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that's unanimous.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yep.
Next one is 196 Marble Ridge Road.
Okay. Let me just check if anyone emailed me. So, commission issued an enforcement order that required confirmation of engaging a wetland consultant be submitted by the 23rd of June. I followed up with the homeowner. She said that her consultant had already been there and delineated the wetland and assumed that she was going to contact me. She hasn't yet. She mentioned that the consultant was going on vacation, so I was hoping to get some sort of written confirmation, but she's working on a proposal for a restoration plan, and that's due on July 14th.
Okay.
So, but I guess we'll just, I don't think any action is required, it's just an update.
Sounds good. Sounds
Very
like a good
good.
thing. I'd leave it alone.
Okay, okay, you're welcome.
Next one is A63 Winter Street.
All right, so this is another enforcement order that required engaging a wetland consultant by the 23rd. The homeowner was attempting to get in touch with Maureen Harold at Norse, since that firm was already familiar with the property. Maureen's schedule prohibited her from connecting with him, but she is engaged. We have met them on site, so I know that she's on board. Her schedule has not allowed her to prepare the plan, and she has requested an extension to the July 26th meeting. And I'm inclined to grant that just because there's a good faith effort there.
Sorry.
Do you need a motion? So moved.
Second?
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, that's unanimous.
That's to grant the extension.
Yes,
Yeah, grant the
Affirmative.
extension. Next one is 242-628, 64 Meadowwood.
so just as a recap, the commission issued an enforcement order, I think it's May 24th meeting, requiring that a plan be provided prepared and submitted that outlines how the rear enclosed sunroom and stairs will come into compliance with that subdivision's 25-foot no disturb zone and 30-foot no build zone. We received on January 23rd a memorandum from Attorney Vaughn. Attorney Vaughn's with us, and the homeowner is as well. And you have a copy of that memo.
Okay.
So I guess I don't know if you can I don't know what you want to do.
Let Attorney Vaughn speak, or do we go on to do questions?
You want to do questions first, then we can ask. You might have some answers for the questions that we have.
I admittedly have not read through this yet, so I don't have anything at this time.
I haven't read it either.
I would just be looking for an update if you have one.
Yeah.
Sure. So Brian Vaughn from Smolak and Vaughn here with me tonight is the homeowner. And I apologize to him every time I say his name. Umultaz.
I butcher it all the time.
Yeah, and I submitted a very long and detailed brief, which I think it's very important that you take a look at. I think Sean earlier tonight on another matter made mention of the fact that this board does not grant waivers generally unless there's something extremely unusual and extremely justified, and I would say that this is perhaps one of those cases. I don't know that I've seen a case where it might be more justified. We do appreciate that this perhaps is something the board would never have granted in the first place. Unfortunately, a developer nearly 30 years ago put a deck on the house. The house has been sold 6 different times. Even though the original developer did not pull a permit, back in 2001, the homeowner, in fact, the then homeowner, did pull a building permit. It was signed off on by the then conservation administrator to approve it, to convert the deck into a 3-season sunroom, and that was done at the time. One of the distinguishing factors here is my client definitely comes before you with clean hands. He did not create the situation, and in fact, he's probably one of the only people that's ever been before you where they've self-reported themselves for a violation as well. And I mean, as I said, I think it's important that you do read through the entire memo. I think I've answered some of the questions that were perhaps even raised at the prior hearings. When he first came to me, my inclination was perhaps not even to represent him, because I know how tough this board can be. But when I dug into it myself, I don't know that there's really any fair, equitable, or just solution here, except to perhaps after the fact approve it, and we can agree to do whatever type of mitigation that we can within reason. Happy to answer any questions or.
Thank you. Ryan?
I don't have any at this time. I would like to read this, though. I'm not sure if we plan on continuing this so that we could have some time to review this, but that would be my request, if possible.
We'd be more than happy to continue it, because we do think it is important that you look at it. We're also more than happy to have you come out yourselves and look at the property if you'd like to. Quite frankly, if this were a new matter that we were before you with in a situation where there was something that was somewhat controversial for you, and I know granting a waiver is, I would probably seek the request to have an extra vote anyway. We've got, I think, 4 voting members tonight, and I think we need 4. If we could continue and we had a fifth member present, I think that's also to our benefit, so we would be happy to continue if the board would entertain it.
Well, let us talk about it for a minute first, Counselor. I'm reading through the submission, page 5, paragraph 2. where it talks about the building permit that was issued in 2001 and the acting conservation agent at the time. I hear everybody saying that the applicant needs a waiver. It's quite possible that the waiver was already granted back in 2001 by that acting administrator at that time. If the owner of the house reasonably relied upon a town agent, and this gentleman is number, what, 6 in line?
Yes.
That
Fourth
wa-
in line from the building.
That waiver was already granted.
Yeah, we put that under the microscope at a meeting. I mean, we went through in a chronological order of what had happened. And I don't have it fresh in my memory now. You know, if we want to continue the meeting to another date, we'll refresh all our memories to make sure that we have the chronology correct. But my memory was that although it was presented by the applicant's or homeowner's representative one way, when we put it under the microscope and we looked at it ourselves, it was not what it appeared. And we ruled that out as a basis for why this didn't require a waiver, because it was approved by the prior administrator. It was represented in a way initially where our administrator should have, and again, let me refresh my memory about it before
Yeah.
I go articulating a
I just,
position on it.
and I appreciate that, and we should. I just want to say what's driving me on this is, we have a lot of history on this commission, collectively. And we've had a lot of different folks working with us and for us. And we've had a lot of different activities taken by some of those folks. And knowing the margin for error when you go back in time bothers me to apply that now, to apply the standard now that, I'm just saying it's possible that
Again, the chronology
Yeah.
ruled that out, the way that we had looked at it.
I think I want to see, I need to be satisfied because,
Yeah,
because I'm leaning towards a pre-existing waiver already given. That's what's going through my mind right now. So I appreciate, let's look at it some more.
Yeah, and Sean, just for the record, I did watch a prior meeting or two just on tape. And I'm not certain of what had been previously discussed on that particular issue. I don't remember it, but I can say from what I looked at, there appeared to be, the question that was opened to me was, there was no definitive proof as to when the original deck was built. By information, belief, and discussions, it appears as though perhaps the original developer, who we won't even get into that discussion, may have done it when the house was originally built with the first homeowner. When I looked into the town records, I did find a building permit in 2001, whereas the first home sale was in 97, I believe. And I've included a chronology of when the sales were, and you can tie it to the exhibit where I've included the building permit application, which was, I believe, off recollection without looking at it, was 2001. And it does include a signature from purportedly Conservation Administrator. And there were, I included a page in there where they showed existing deck with some notes as to existing deck. So it does suggest to me, at least in terms of chronology, that whenever the deck was originally put in, it was prior to 2001 when the building permit was requested for the deck. And it did make reference to the deck being pre-existing. So, but take a look at it by all means. I mean, that's what we're asking for. We're asking for you to, because if there's something that I'm missing, I'd like to know about it as well and look at it. And I can assure you that what we might be missing because we haven't seen it, this guy right here isn't the one who did it, and it was someone prior in the chain of ownership. But yeah, by all means.
What would be the continuous date, July 26th, is that?
Yep.
So I'll move that.
Can we have a butters statement?
It's
It's not technically a hearing.
So to be in a butter, you have to be within, you have to live within 300 feet of the project to be a statutory abutter.
She,
She's next door.
she's literally across the street.
So then, I'm only saying that so it's on the record, so if you can say that you were in a butter, please take the podium, and you have to tell us again who you are each time you talk, okay? Thank you.
My name is Melinda Perone, and I live at 65 Meadowwood Road. So I live right across the street from El Mutas. And I've lived in the house since 2008. So I've seen El Mutas' house. I can look out my front window, and I can see that the deck. Beautiful. It's a beautiful deck. And I am concerned about the wetlands. I certainly am. And as El Mutas can tell you, that I walk the wetlands frequently. But we live in a very tight neighborhood. We're not a PRD, so we don't have a lot of space, and even our playground is not taken care of by the town. So that's something that we have there. That's right next to El Mutas' house. So the deck is very important. In all of our neighborhoods, decks are important because that's where we go outside, because our houses are very close together. We have very small lawns. But I do want to say that El Mutas has been in our neighborhood for 7 months now.
Yes, I bought the house 11 months ago, yeah, and been
Okay.
there for 7 months. Yeah.
And has been nothing but a fabulous neighbor. I've just been very, very happy seeing he and his wife each day. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Melinda.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melinda.
And just for the record, I have missed the previous meeting, and it's not because I don't respect the time of the commission or anything. And all this matter, to be honest, for me is I want to get all the required paper, for my house to comply with the law. I even suggested to Amy before even issuing the enforcement order that I'm open actually to enhance any kind of wetland environment. I'm a pharmacist, a scientist, and drug developer. I'm a big fan of environment because of I grow in a desert, in the Sahara Desert area in Sudan, and I know, like how cutting down trees, affecting the environment, the global warming is affecting our country today in any way possible, whether it's in the US, in Africa, in Sudan, in anywhere. And all what I needed to do is to comply, and that's why even I like the wooden deck over there. When the contractor mentioned that, I would never touch that. I spoke with Amy, to be honest, hey, as long as I have this grass and this air, I don't care about that. I can remove it completely. And I suggested if she can recommend, or my engineer can recommend any kind of botanist, so I can do enhancement for the wetland that's currently available. I'm willing actually to do that. Even more, I looked into any possible alternative to move the stairs, like whether it's close to my home, which we couldn't do because it's gonna block my entrance. To the other side, I have to cut 2-3 trees and remove my central AC unit, so I can move that between my neighbor, and I'm gonna be very close to my neighbor. I'm not sure even touching their.
Yeah, zoning probably wouldn't allow it.
Yeah. So, and I was asking, and I actually thankful for Amy and Steve actually to come by my place and see for themselves. I wanted to have the conversation in an open way. And to be honest, all what I had is a good faith. And I started that conversation actually before I even purchased the house. I reached out to Amy and I asked about what process needed to be done. Because for me, I just grew up as a scientist and I like doing things the right way. How I do it, what I need to do it. And at that time, to me, it's a matter of a process
that I have to hire engineer. The engineer gonna do as-built plan. I was naive, like about wetland law or order of condition, which is very complicated, happened to be. Even for a guy, I used to think I'm a smart one, but like when I looked at that, listen, I need somebody who understands that, because I don't want to say something I don't know anything about it, because I wouldn't give it justice, because it's just going to be my emotion as an owner and the feeling that, hey, I didn't do anything, and I sought to do the right thing, and I ended up, like with a complication that is beyond my understanding. And even how I reached Brian by reaching to my neighbors and email chance, like to Melinda, to the neighborhood, hey, you've been living in this neighborhood very long. Tell me how you guys put your houses in compliance. And they told me these laws are very complicated. You should, like look for somebody who understands the law so he can let you know what is the right thing in the eyes of the law. Not according to how you feel, because I know for sure our emotion gets the best of us when things, like coming inside our pocket, like, and reducing our property values and stuff like that. And that's all what I wanted to share. Like, I come here in with a good face, with an open mind, and to be honest, I like the peace of mind. If there is any possible way that I can move those stairs without creating a hazardous situation in accident my basement, I would have done it in a blink of an eye, because like, hey, I just want to get my papers in order, be 100% compliant, and that's all what I seek. And thank you for your time and for taking care of the city and the community and of us.
Thank you.
I would just like to add a couple things just to make sure, because he mentioned before his closing that he even had reached out to Stephen and Amy. I think if you read my memo, I just want to make sure it's clear. He did reach out, but there was a misunderstanding or miscommunication, and he didn't appreciate that the violation existed until after he purchased the property, when Steve Stupinski then completed his as-built and provided that to him. So I just want to make sure that no one interpreted it as, oh, he knew about this before he bought, because he definitely didn't.
As Mr. Manzi has stated on that page 5, if that's the case, if the conservation administrator signed off on that, and we can find evidence that that is so.
If you go to page
Oh, yeah, it's in there.
15, this is an exhibit. Page 14 is the permit application, the form you release form on page 15.
Yeah.
I recognize that signature.
And it says right on it, existing structure to be built upon only. So built upon a deck that was already there.
I mean, I know Sean wants to do a deep dive into this, and if he does, we should. But I think it's reasonable that a waiver was granted in August of, what year is that?
2001.
Or 1. The fact that there have been 5 previous closings on this property, and not one closing attorney picked up on this.
That's an interesting point, and I know that was one of the things I saw that you had mentioned to Steve in a prior hearing. And I can say, as someone who's been practicing for a number of years, it is an issue that a lot of, was overlooked in a lot of prior transactions. A lot of the residential real estate conveyancers really don't know as much about the orders or conditions or the details. And the title insurance companies, over recent years, have been more particular about wanting this identified in the policies as an encumbrance, and probably in part because of the recent case where the conditions, can sort of reinvent themselves with every sale, right? I mean, that was there used to be some repose, I think,
For a while there, we had a rash of COCs, old filings.
And why you have
Title companies.
is because, and in this particular case too, without getting too far into the weeds, the order of conditions was old enough. One of the good things that the Conservation Commission, I think, has done in their orders of conditions is required specific reference in the deed as to existence of an order of conditions. The chain of deeds in this property doesn't even make reference to the order of conditions. So it would have to be separately picked up in a search. Like all of their deeds going back, they do make reference to a conservation easement and to a drainage easement, but they don't specifically reference the order of conditions. And one of the things that's kind of, I guess, even further interesting is, in this case, by ultimately issuing a partial certificate of compliance, it will put more prominently into the chain of title the continuing conditions, because now you'll have the owner referenced with the partial certificate, which then says it's released, but for what are the specific continuing conditions, so that any subsequent owner is then going to pick that up and see, oh, wait a minute, this property is subject to, the nitrogen release or whatever those may be, that doesn't appear immediately to a homeowner now.
All right, so you, like I said, I'm in agreement with you, Al, but if you want to, if the rest of the commissioners want to
Well,
continue.
Sean wants us to investigate.
And I'll
Sean has asked to investigate.
Investigate some more.
Yeah, I'd like to refresh my memory, go through this to see what the dates are, look at the permit back and forth, and make sure that the way that we saw things at the other meeting was inaccurate, as it was either presented to us or as we kind of try to connect the dots ourselves, I think, is what happened. I think
Yep.
something was presented to us and it did not, to me, pass the smell test. It was kind of placed on our administrator at the time, and when we tried to connect the dots then, my memory was that it was kind of expecting our administrator at the time of the second filing to start pulling tape on something that was already sitting there existing. And I felt that was something that would be above and beyond what anybody would expect from an administrator out there for the purpose they were at that time. And that they were using that as the justification for seeking the waiver, saying it didn't apply. And I want to drill down on that a little bit.
Okay. All right, so we're going to continue to
July 26th.
July 26th.
July 26th.
So, any extra, any data, documents, information? In this case, I always say less is more, but in this case, that's not true. The more you have, the better.
If you find more than this, I'll be impressed.
Well, and you may not, only because between 2001 and now, our administrator's office has been moved at least 3 times that I'm aware of, from 3 different buildings. And one of the moves was conducted in good faith by members of the DPW when they put boxes of papers in the back of a dump truck and went driving down Route 125 by the McDonald's, and about 800 pages of documents were just evacuated from the back of the dump truck and lost forever in, what is that, Boston Brook over there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very possible that there may not be that trail that we like, but I, for one, absent anything that's gonna stick a dagger in this, I think I know what I need to know, but I wanna see the deep dive.
So motion and
Second.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Decision time. Boy, we got old business.
Oh, yeah, we've got, I just wanted to give you a quick update on the recent order that you guys issued for 1845 Turnpike, and that was the strange shaped addition because of the no-build zone that kind of squished it, wetland around the whole, upland part of the property. They have decided not to move forward with that project, and they have removed the shed from the 25. The shed and the pad from the 25 has been removed. So I just want to let you know.
That's good.
So if you drive by and you see it's for sale,
They decided not to
things are
vote
taken
yet.
care of.
That's good news.
Yes,
Okay.
yep,
All right,
And that's 1845?
yes.
yeah. 65.
1845 Turnpike, but it's 242, 1865 for the DEP file number, but so whatever. Yeah, yeah.
All right. Ne- Next one is election of officers.
Mr. Chairman, I respectfully nominate you to remain as chairman for the next term.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Thank you.
Is it your turn to nominate him for vice chairman?
Yes?
I thought you were gonna push me out the door.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Manzi as assistant chair, or vice
Second.
chair.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Great.
You got my vote.
You got,
Well, cash or check?
Oh, I think we're supposed to get a raise, I think.
We're getting a raise.
oh, yeah.
We're getting
Times
50% of nothing is a
It's
good
pretty
raise.
good.
Let's close this out so we can go celebrate.
There you go.
Wait, we have,
Decision, 242, 1868, 25 Gilman.
So I included the plan at the back, just to refresh your memories. It's an in-ground pool.
yep,
And so I cite that they provided the soil profile and percolation test data from the, when the septic system was done. So I know you guys were, at the first hearing, perhaps venturing down the road of requiring a test pit before the pool was excavated, but I don't know if this test pit information puts that to rest.
what do you have for a bond?
3,000?
Okay.
Do I have, better make
Yeah, we
sure
should-
that all dewatering measures are installed at the time of the pre-construction.
Amy, on applicants that are doing built-in swimming pools,
Yeah,
can we ask them ahead of time to do a test pit for the water table?
I,
You want that to be a pre-construction condition?
I think so, because, like the last guy, this guy is worse, the last guy before was even worse, I believe. It's only for their benefit. Having a water table underneath your swimming pool is not a very good thing, especially if it's concrete, it's got
You know,
nowhere to go.
If they hit water, they gotta come back in front of us anyway.
well, they have a dewatering area
I see
called
it.
out on the
Yep.
plan.
Yeah, we asked them for it.
And, well, actually, they had it.
Oh, they had it?
They did have it on the original plan, and so the long-term, we have a construction phase dewatering plan and a post-construction dewatering tank. Remember, the pump was a
Yep.
24 horsepower at
24
first, now
horsepower, yep.
it's 2 now, and so, and they moved it.
I'd
They
like to get
moved
a
it such
24
that
horsepower
it's
pump.
farther away from the the leaching field. So,
Lou, I think this is okay.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm just saying, in the future, I just think it,
yeah, we gotta be more cognizant of,
be more
groundwater
cognizant
levels.
of where the water table is.
Yes.
It's only for the applicant's favor.
They understand, though, that if they run into water, they've got to come back for a modification, right?
Yeah, but it's the
for
groundwater.
what? Why?
Well, if the groundwater's too high, they can't set the pool as designed. The pool won't set.
Well, they can,
Well,
It'll
that's
float.
why, that's why they have a construction phase
they
dewatering.
can pump it out long enough to drop, to,
All I'm saying is, if they can successfully pump it out and set the pool in,
Yeah.
sure, no issues. But
Okay.
if they get to the point where the pool's floating,
Yeah,
they need a modification.
okay.
So,
Oh, well, yeah, okay. If pool floats.
I'm just,
Okay.
And insurance and a lot of other things they're gonna need.
yeah. Well, it's just to help to save the applicant, because
All right.
if some pool guy comes in there and he's.
so are we amending this, or are we?
Yeah, well, actually, I failed to add that all dewatering BMPs must be installed at the time of the pre-construction meeting, construction phase, dewatering BMPs.
Okay.
And then if the contractor fails to get the pool in without it floating away, then they have to come back.
You can interpret that any way you want
Okay,
when
I'll
you're
try to
out there.
reword that, but I
Leave
know what
that-
you're saying.
I leave that to your discretion, but
I-
you know what I mean.
I know what you mean, and
All right.
I will,
Then
I
I'm
will get the
satisfied.
language down.
I'm satisfied with that. I don't need a special page in the order of conditions.
I'm just trying to protect the applicant, because if he gets a shoddy pool guy,
Our job is to protect the interests of the town of North Andover.
well, if they get it corrected, it's gonna cause a mess to fix.
Then they come back in front of us and with a major modification.
I like, if I can help sometimes, I like to, it's not a big deal. Just making sure that they know where the water tables. I think we should get groundwater tests on all applications.
All right, that's something we can talk about. Can I
No.
can I move this?
Yes, you can.
I move it as amended.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Next one is 242-1807. Rosemont.
I remember Rosemont.
Yep, bigger sunroom.
I remember when Rosemont the road was being cut in
Model.
from Chestnut and Ray.
Oh, gosh.
I know the street, I wasn't in town when that happened.
It was,
That'd be in the 90s.
it was one of the hugest mistakes
Oh, jeez.
any operator of a bulldozer ever made.
Yeah, I heard about that.
He missed the stakes by 80 feet.
How?
He just didn't know how to drive. He didn't know how to drive the bulldozer.
You just didn't see him, or just
It
bad
didn't,
driving?
he was fighting for control of the machine. It was a Caterpillar D9,
Oh, wow.
and
Jeez.
he didn't know how to drive it. He shouldn't have been driving it.
Yeah, the operator's name was Ray Charles.
Oh, no, let me tell you. He'd have done a better job. It took Patrick Seecamp 5 years to stabilize the slopes that operator cut in.
Oh, that's awful.
Hinkley loamy soils
Oh,
that never wanted to settle out,
bad.
but Patrick did it. We gave him the challenge. We
Wow.
said, you have all the time you need, up to and including 7 years. You have 7 years.
Up to and including
And
7
and he
years.
did it in 5.
5
Wow.
years of restoration for how many minutes of damage?
He
Right, like,
developed some type of a netting. He actually had it made.
Okay.
He custom built a netting that went on the hillside and anchored it, and then pre-planted it, seeded it. He spent years germinating different species that would adhere to the netting that would hold the slope in place. It was quite remarkable.
So you tended to every individual plant on that.
And it wasn't any joke. We're talking about 100 yards by probably 100 feet by 100 yards.
wow.
Yeah, it was really something. We should have videoed it.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Bear Hill was almost as bad.
Bear Hill was not as bad, but it was close. You're right, it was close. Any curveballs in this?
No, this is very straightforward.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous.